everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. My name is Sunny. I am here with my co-host, Caleb.
Hello!
And we are back! Woo! It's just us in the studio. We are here. We are coming to you. We're going to talk about some archetypes today. We got lots and lots of new cards to discuss.
Oh yeah, lots of new individual cards, lots of new cards for older archetypes, 2 new archetypes.
Yeah, a lot going on, and we might chat even a little bit about the Speed Duel Battle City box.
Yes, and also the OCG officially got their ban list.
Yes, so we are going to discuss all of these wonderful, wonderful things, but in the meantime, we of course want to thank all of our wonderful patrons. So, a huge thank you to Austin Johnson, Kane Martin, Damian Zink, Marshawn Jones, Master of Eisen, Mr. Herbies, Witchcrafter Main 2022, AD, Aaron Gardner, Anthony Leela, Appaloosa is a Floodgate, Dank Nugs again, now with Dino DNA, Mountain Man, Myth Oceanus, Owen Alvarado, Pig, Rudolph, Sneaky Links, Chris Myers, MBT's Hard Leg, Ray Powell, Slaking It Up, Sunny Sweet, and Zyphorus. Thank you all so much for your continued support of the podcast.
You guys are awesome.
You're the best. You're the best. Caleb's talking an extra lot today. He got an energy drink right before the podcast, and it's kicking in.
Yeah, boys, let's go.
Oh man. So, of course, as always, we also want to put a little bit of a thing just to let everybody know we're going to do the plugs. Be sure to check out our TCG Player affiliate link in the description down below. Costing you nothing extra to support the podcast at no extra cost to you.
And you'll be getting the same cards you'd already be buying.
Absolutely. Also thank you to Carlos Salem, another patron. They just signed up just now live.
Yeah, so. literally. So if you heard that bling,
yeah,
that was literally it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, we are gonna, sorry, lost my train of thought. Again, be sure to check out the TCG Player affiliate link. It is in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the podcast. All you got to do is click the link before you shop, and it's going to redirect you to the TCG Player homepage. That's fine. That's normal. It's going to seem like it didn't do anything, but I promise it did. And from there, just do your shopping as normal. As long as we're the last link that you clicked that brought you to the website, we'll get credit. So we appreciate it. I promise we do. So also, we want to ask you to please check us out on Twitter at Top Cut Podcast. We are trying to get that up and running, getting that up the best of our abilities. Check out our Discord. The Discord is going to be hosting live remote duel locals
in 2 days.
Right. So that is this Thursday, March 17th, I think.
That sounds correct.
Yes, I'm almost positive it's March 17th.
Continue talking while I look it up. Right. Yes, it is the 17th.
Okay, so be sure to be in the Discord server if you want to do free remote duel locals on March the 17th. And the last thing is, if you want merch from us, the Top Cut Podcast,
buy our mat.
You can find a link to our playmat in the description down below. You can find that at imperiumduelist.com. If you go in there, go to playmats, scroll all the way to the bottom. That's it. That's us. That's our playmat. It says the Top Cut Podcast on it. It's awesome. And
got some amazing artwork.
Oh, yes. So the artwork is awesome. The playmat material is awesome. It's the King's Robe playmat. And if you buy the playmat, let us know either on Twitter or on Discord. And we're going to, when the playmat when it comes down, it's going to be live for a few weeks. Probably close to a month. And when it comes down, we're going to give a huge thank you to everyone that ordered one. So please be sure to let us know that you ordered so we can go ahead and give a big thank you to everyone that did order. So,
and also, if you see us out in public and you have your mat on you and something in like a nice silver Sharpie and want us to sign it, we will gladly do so.
What? Are you trying to get me to talk about myself? Because I will gladly do so. So, thank you all so much for your continued support. And of course, we want to take some time to thank everybody. I mean, it really means the world to us. So, of course, let's go ahead and get on into the meat of today's episode, which is we're going to start with some new cards.
Well, why don't we just go ahead and knock out the OCG ban list real quick?
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that.
Yeah. Then we'll get into the new cards.
Right. So the OCG got their new ban list, as of recording today, Sunday, March 13th. But it will take effect. Doesn't even say. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, April 1st. It'll take effect April 1st. Wow. 2 weeks early? 3 weeks early?
Man, I wish we got that.
Wow.
So let's start with the unlimited, all the, from whatever to 3s, and we'll work our way backwards.
Oh, so we're going to work our way from
Unlimited to semi-limited to limited to ban.
Okay, we can do that if you want.
So unlimited, from 1 to 3, Multigeist, Altergeist, Multifaker. Wow, Multigeist. Memories of Hope went from 2 to 1, went from 2 to 3. A Hero Lives went from 2 to 3. Metaverse went from 2 to 3.
Those are all probably fine. I mean, Multifaker's at 3 over here, I believe.
Yep.
I think, in fact, all of those cards. Well, no, Metaverse is still at 1 over here,
Yeah.
but the other ones are at 3. So that's fine. I think Hero Lives is actually at 2 over here, but it'll probably go to 3 next list.
Yeah, it fairly recently went to 2 over here.
All right, so let's talk about the semi-limited list. Semi-limited, you have Tri-Brigade Fractal went from 3 to 2. That's an interesting hit because I don't think Bird Up was like a big problem over there, but I guess they figure they've sold all the Tri-Brigade product.
Yeah, it's time to start hitting Tri-Brigade names.
Unfortunately. Unfortunate. Next, you have Pot of Prosperity going from 3 to 2. I guess this is similar to the Zaire's limit. It's just so generically good that they just wanted to give it a slight consistency hit.
Yeah.
Next, you have Branded Opening going from 3 to 2. This makes sense because the Branded deck is like super tier 1 over there.
Mm-hmm.
Next, you have Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine going from 3 to 2. Makes sense. It's a good card. Orcus Harpor going from 1 to 2. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
right?
To think that over there they just kind of doesn't seem like, from what I can tell, Orcus is really doing too much. Yes, there are Orcus decks, but it's kind of like Dino Now over here.
Yeah, they're just kind of fringe. Like they exist, but they're not.
And it's a really good deck.
Yeah, it'll take games off you for sure, but it's
Yeah.
not like oppressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though Orcus themselves can.
And Grass is at, I think, 2 over there.
Uh huh.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Wind Up Carrier Zenmaity from 1 to 2. This is like my favorite move on the whole list.
Yeah, because they have Hunter banned.
Yeah, if we banned Hunter over here, we could have Zenmaity to 2 or even 3. And yeah, I get that it's like good. I get that.
Loops, brother.
That's fine because
But now the windups aren't looping anything outside of themselves over and over because Hunter, they can't rip cards out of your hand anymore.
Sure, they can flood the field, but like, what are you just gonna do? Appaloosa the deck? I mean, realistically,
Appaloosa into Verte Anaconda.
Yeah, but hand traps hurt that deck just like it hurts every other deck.
Literally, activate effect of Wind Up Magician, Ash.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Or you can
Pass
go
turn.
Magician into Shark and then overlay those into Zenmaity, activate Zenmaity, Ash. Pass turn.
Or even funnier, it's good. It's good. It's like summon, good, summon, good, summon, good, summon, good, summon, good, nib.
Yeah. I mean, the deck can probably make Appaloosa. No, maybe not 4. No, probably not 4.
No, they can't.
Even with the new Link 2 that they have,
Yeah.
I don't think they can do it.
Nope. Because it's like summon one, its effect will summon a second one, then they link 2 into Zenmaity, which gets them the third, and then they can link those 2 off. Depending on what that third one is, they might be able to get another summon, and then that's summon 5.
No, they can't do it and save themselves from Appaloosa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as we know, I'm not 100% sure on what the actual link monster does for the deck specifically, because I haven't actually looked at it. I know it exists, but I don't think they can make Appaloosa as summon 5.
No, they can't get there, I don't think.
Yeah, because for Appaloosa, I think that's the best you can do is Appaloosa summon 5.
Yeah. So get your Wind Up Carrier Zenmaity Ultimate Rares now.
Well, how much are they?
For a near mint first,
Yeah.
like $40.
Wow. I was looking. Oh, the OTS ulti for like.
They have one that they have a seller that has a dozen of them listed for $50. Shipping included.
Dang.
Verified seller.
Actually, fun fact about ultis. The
I picked up some ultis recently.
Yeah, the Xyz Dragon ulti, OTS OT, the Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, the original rank 4. They're like $20.
That's not too bad.
No, not at all. For a nice ulti.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's besides the point.
Next you have Harmonizing Magician going from 1 to 2. I think that's a pendulum card.
It's pinned.
Night Assailaint going from 1 to 2.
Loops.
I guess loops are fine. I mean, it's not that big a deal. Trish going from 1 to 2.
Yeah, so what Night Assailaint does, for those of you who don't know, it's a flip monster that when it's discarded or sent to the graveyard.
Well, when it's flipped, it destroys one monster on the field.
Yeah. But yeah, like it also has another effect where it's like sent to the graveyard, discard. I don't remember which. You can add a flip monster from your graveyard back to your hand.
If it's sent from your hand to the graveyard.
Thank you. For many method,
actually no, it might be when it's discarded. I think it's when it's discarded.
When it goes from your hand to the graveyard, you can then add a flip monster from your graveyard back to your hand.
And it being a flip monster can create an infinite loop.
Yeah, except itself. It literally can't add itself. But you can add another copy of Night Assailant.
Yeah.
So you can just sit there and keep doing
infinite discard fodder.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's old, slow, and like kind of just not that good.
Because you have to have one of them in your grave and the other one in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, if we can have Gishki hand loops running around that are like nobody's playing, literally nobody's playing, this is fine.
Even though they can rip 4 cards out of your hand?
Or they can rip your whole hand.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. But it's like, it dies hard to hand traps. So.
Yeah. And again, it's this also dies hard to hand traps, and also...
Well, it's not that the Night Assailant thing dies to hand traps. It's just really hard in today's metagame to like really take advantage of.
A, pull off, and B, what deck would even take full... Like, the only deck I can think that could even take advantage of Night Assailant at all, even before the loop, was Guru and Shadal.
Yeah.
And they didn't bother with it.
Yeah, so it's not that great. Next, you have Trish, Dragon of the Ice Barrier from 1 to 2. This is fine, honestly. The beginning of the end from 1 to 2, it's fine. Raigeki from 1 to 2, definitely fine. Divine Wind of Mist Valley from 1 to 2 is also fine.
No idea why it was banned in the first place.
It was limited because it's like, I don't know, it's part of some combos and stuff.
Fair enough.
But it's a combo piece.
Yeah. Newly limited. Water Enchantress of the Temple went from 2 to 1. Rite of Aramesir went from 2 to 1. Fusion Destiny went from Forbidden to 1.
These are all really interesting pulls.
DP's back, baby.
Technically?
Yeah, you can Fusion Destiny and DP over in the OCG now.
Yeah, but you know what you can't do?
What's that?
You can't link 2 into Verte Anaconda anymore.
Because he's banned!
Yep, Verte is banned, and Imperial Order is banned. It's really interesting to me that they banned IO in the OCG because they're so much more willing to allow floodgates over there. I mean, you have Vanity's Emptiness at 1 over there, but IO is banned. That's crazy to me.
I think that
it's got to be player reactions. It's got to be they saw the TCG ban IO, and the player base was like, "See, they did it. Why can't we?"
Yeah, I mean, it could also just be another possibility is the exact opposite, where they banned IO over here and saw the player base reaction of, "Oh my god, this was amazing."
Also, yeah,
and then went, "This is a good idea," and banned it in the OCG, expecting the same reaction.
I tell you what, though, I don't know who's going to complain about IO being banned, to be honest with you.
People who, like, relied on IO.
I mean, I guess, but ugh.
And nothing else to win games.
Yeah, so. All right, let's go ahead and get on into some new cards. What do you say?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. One more thing.
What you got?
It said on the YGO organization, where we get all of our information, the first line of this article. Look, it's fair to allow infinite loops once we kill Verte Anaconda. Don't at me.
At YG Organization.
Don't patch those people. They're making jokes. Very funny jokes.
All right, so let's talk about Loris, Lady of Lament. So
we now have her effect.
Yeah, this is the newest Lady of Lament. This is a V-Jump promo. Is a level 3 Dark Fiend effect monster. 1500 attack, 500 defense. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1.
Oh, wait. There's a funny typo. It says level 3 Dark Fiend effect monster, level 1500.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, this thing's level 1500.
Crazy. 1. You can target 3 or 6 of your normal traps that are banished and or in your graveyard. Place them on the bottom of your deck in any order, then draw 1 card for every 3 cards placed.
That's literally just reverse Pot of Extravagance, but for traps.
Kind of, sort of, but not really, because like if you desires and banish traps, then you can't get
because they're face down. They're not traps. They're face down. But I mean, if you activate, but it lets you like recycle your traps.
Right.
But what I'm saying is you can do 3 or 6 to draw 1 for each.
Yeah. 2, if another monsters is tributed or a normal traps in your possession is sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can target 1 normal trap in your graveyard, set it to your field. That's interesting.
So essentially, if you activate that effect if you have that effect active and your opponent Harpies Feather Dusters you get 1 of your traps back.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it doesn't have to be one of the ones that got sent. You can pull back like an Ice Dragon Prison you used like 2 turns ago.
Yeah. All right. Next we have the Labyrinth Archetype.
Ooh.
So this is from the Deck Builder Tactical Masters, which is the same set that releases the Valiant Archetype and the Mystaroon Archetype. And this is interesting.
I really like this archetype. I'm going to try and build this.
Yeah, I mean,
and not just because of the waifus.
Yeah, well. So first we start off with Labyrinth of the Silver Palace.
So the monster who is a lady in like the white dress,
who we've seen pictures of, but we haven't really had an effect for yet. This is it.
That's her.
So this is a level 8 Dark Fiend effect monster, 2900 attack, 1900 defense. You can only use the second and third effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1. Your opponent cannot activate monster effects in response to the activation of your normal trap cards. That's
rough.
Crazy. 2. You can target 1 normal trap in your graveyard, set it to your field, but it cannot be activated unless you control a Fiend monster.
That's the archetype.
Yep. 3. If a monster leaves the field by your normal trap card's effect, you can destroy 1 card your opponent controls or 1 random card in their hand.
So, Ice Dragon's Prison, and then rip a card out of their hand.
I mean, yeah.
Or pop something else. That's hilarious.
That's pretty good.
The only thing I don't like about her is that she can't special summon herself.
Yeah.
She has to be special summoned one of the other ones. I'll take the next one. The next card is called Labyrinth Daemon. So,
Archfiend.
I was about to say, in the TCG, that's going to be translated as Labyrinth Archfiend, because anytime they say Demon or Daemon, they just say Archfiend in the TCG.
Yeah, I just tend to give the TCG name the translation.
That's what I was going to do next. Anyway, level 7 Dark Fiend, 2000 attack, 2800 defense. You can only use the first and second of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If a trap card is activated, you can special summon this card from your hand. Cool. That's really cool, actually. 2. If this card is special summoned, you can set a normal trap that activates only when an attack is declared directly from your deck to your field. The various Mirror Forces, Magic Cylinder, which would be hilarious, stuff like that. 3. Gains 400 attack for each normal trap with different names in your graveyard. Monsters your opponent controls cannot target Fiend monsters you control for attacks except this card. Well, it didn't say except this card, it says except Labyrinth Archfiend. So if you have 2 of them on the field, it doesn't like block your opponent from attacking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's actually a really solid card. Particularly because you can drop it in your opponent's turn. He can get real big real quick.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because he's immediately going to be 2400 just based off his activation requirement.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's actually fairly feasible to get 5 different 5 normal traps with different names in your graveyard, making him 400 each. That make him 4k.
Yeah, it adds up quick.
Yeah.
Next we have Labyrinth Servant Ariana, level 4 Dark Fiend effect monster, 1600 attack, 2100 defense. You can only use one of the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn and only once that turn. 1. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Labyrinth card from your deck to your hand, except Labyrinth Servant Ariana. 2. If a monster leaves the field by your normal trap card's effect, you can draw 1 card, then you can special summon 1 Fiend monster or set 1 spell trap from your hand.
That's really good.
Yeah, seems alright.
Now, in the artwork of some of the other cards where it has her in it, there's also what looks like another version of her, but she's green. There's another version of her that's pink with a different weapon. So, and none of the cards that we have here are her. So we're thinking that she either might be in this, like she might be in this pack, they just haven't revealed her yet, or she might be released in the future.
Yeah.
Future support. Next up, we have Labyrinth Chandra. Level 3 Dark Fiend effect monster, 1500 attack, 0 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Excuse me. 1. Quick effect. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to discard 1 card. Set a Labyrinth spell trap from your hand or deck to the field. Pretty good.
Yep.
And it's a hand trap. Boom.
And it's a level 3 Dark Fiend.
Uh-huh. To be fair, he has to be in your hand. It has to be in your hand or the field, and you send him to the graveyard.
You can normal summon Tour Guide, special summon this guy.
Yeah, and then
activate his effect, send him and the discard to the graveyard as cost, and then set one because he's in the graveyard now.
Yes. Yeah, no, and I was double checking to make sure that sending him to graveyard was
I believe that might work. Actually, you know what? It might not work for the same reason that, like, if you effect Veil or a Rescue Rabbit.
Well, no.
Because once the effect is resolved once its effect is negated on the field, because Tour Guide negates the effect, right?
Well, yeah, but I think it might actually be a case of it being similar to the BAs. Because when you normal summon Tour Guide, especially one of the BA monsters, and then Link 2, they still get their effects. But then it also depends on whether or not.
But this is its activated effect on field.
Yeah, but and then I think it'll actually be determined on whether or not activating the effect and then sending them and discarding is very specifically for cost. We'll have to see how it's translated, because here, based on what YG Organization has translated, it would be for cost.
Yeah, but I think even sending for cost, because if my opponent normal summons Rescue Rabbit and I Veiler this rabbit on summon, even if they activate it and banish it for cost, it's still negated. So the more I think about it, actually, I think it would be negated.
Yeah, it might. We'll have to wait and see for specific translations, and then we can probably figure it out from there.
But the point is, you can actually still just Tour Guide normal summon and then summon this guy.
Yeah, so. And then 2, if a monster leaves the field by your normal trap cards, effect all these cards in your graveyard, add to your hand.
Yeah.
So there's still a reason to normal summon Tour Guide, special this, and then do a play.
Yeah, because even if you normal summon Tour Guide, special summon this guy, then you
activate normal trap, it goes right back to your hand.
You can link it.
Yeah. Well, you can technically also Exo summon with it if you just immediately detach the Chandra for its effect.
Yeah. So.
By the way, Chandra is Chandelier plus Dragon.
Yeah. Next, you have Labyrinth Stove, level 2 Dark Fiend effect monster, 0 attack, 2000 defense. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1 quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard and discard 1 card. Set 1 Labyrinth spell trap from your hand or deck to your field. 2, if a monster leaves the field by your normal trap card's effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. I don't actually think that the Chandra and the Stove are that great, just because it's a neg-1 to set the spell trap, and most control decks and control archetypes
are very much,
are card advantage control based, you know?
Yeah. Now, granted, that is a way to get out specific ones, but the thing about them, though, is that literally Stovey and Chandra are the exact same card, just with different stats.
I wouldn't say, no, they're not the exact same card.
I mean, they have...
One lets you summon and one adds to your hand.
Fair
so
enough.
So Stovey summons itself, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also level 2, the Stove.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Labyrinth Ku Clock. Excuse me. It's Cuckoo and Clock.
Yeah, it's a Cuckoo Clock.
But with a bat instead of a bird. That's kind of neat. Level 1, Dark Fiend, 0 attack, 0 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1, quick effect, discard this card. This turn, while you control a Labyrinth monster, you can activate 1 normal trap card the turn it was set. That's really good.
Yeah.
2, if you send a card from your hand to the graveyard to activate a Labyrinth card's effect, except Labyrinth Ku Clock or your normal trap those cards in your graveyard, either add this card to your hand or special summon it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you can so if the clock is in your graveyard, activating Chandra or Stove isn't a -1. It's a 1-for-1 at that point.
Right.
Because you also get the Ku Clock back, and then you can discard it to immediately activate the trap card that you just set.
Okay, yeah, this is okay. Yeah, that makes it better.
Yeah.
Next, we have the field spell, Labyrinth. So it's important to note that when we've been saying Labyrinth this whole time, normally Labyrinth is spelled Labryinth, and the Labyrinth for the archetype name is Labryinth. There's no I.
Yeah, because that's her name.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's not Labyrinth as in the Labyrinth of the Silver Palace. Her name is Labyrinth.
Right, but it's spelled without the I. So
spelled with a Y instead.
No, with both.
Yeah.
So, normally there is still a Y, but there's no I in her name. So when I say Labyrinth, it's both spellings. So
yeah,
it's the Labyrinth of
Labyrinth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, field spell card. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If you activate a set Welcome Labyrinth normal trap card, you can add this additional effect to its effect, destroy one card on the field. So, if you activate one of the Welcome Labyrinth trap cards that we're going to get into in a minute, then also it gains the effect of destroy one card. Right. So
Which
it's just an extra pop.
Non-targeting extra pop.
Yes. 2, if you activate a non-Labyrinth normal trap card, you can special summon one Fiend monster from your hand or graveyard. That's awesome because it gives it an amount of recursion that the deck is going to need.
Oh yeah. Now, keep in mind, it said one Fiend. It doesn't matter who it is.
True.
So you could summon something funny like Sky Scourge Norlaris.
Summon back that Seer that you sent to the graveyard.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Tour Guide, summon the thing, link 2 into Seer, use Seer to summon...
And a Cherubini.
Cherubini, that's what I meant. Use Cherubini to send a Water Enchantress, activate Water Enchantress. And then you are set up with your engine for your Labyrinth stuff, and you have your your Brave token package online.
Yup.
That's... Well, no, because you activated a normal summon monsters effect with Tour Guide.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I feel like there's still something there. There's something there. I'm not smart enough to do it, but there's something there.
Next up, we have Labyrinth Setting. The setting of Labyrinth, specifically the person. Quick play spell card. You can only activate one card with this name per turn. 1. Target 2 of your Labyrinth spells or traps that are banished and or in your graveyard, except another copy of Labyrinth Setting. Shuffle them into the deck, then if you control a Fiend monster, set a non-Labyrinth normal trap with different names from each other, drag from your deck, equal to the number of cards shuffled. So you can recycle some of your spent Labyrinth traps and then set 2 non-Labyrinth traps. Something like, I don't know, Ice Dragon's Prison and...
Trap Trick.
Trap Trick, yeah.
Torrential Tribute.
Yeah, hold on. Set the Trap Trick, and then during your opponent's turn, activate Trap Trick to grab one of your Labyrinth traps. One of the ones you just shuffled back.
Yep. It's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Next you have Welcome Labyrinth, a normal trap card.
Trap card that was mentioned on the field spell.
Right. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1. Special summon one Labyrinth monster from your deck, but you cannot special summon monsters from the deck and extra deck until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, except Fiend monsters.
And then, because of the field spell, also pop one card on the field.
Yes. 2. If a monster leaves the field by your normal trap card's effect while this card is in your graveyard, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can set this card to your field. Awesome to have the recursion there.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be important for a deck like this.
It's searchable and recurs itself.
Yep.
And it can even recur itself from banished.
Yep.
It itself can't, but there are other cards that let you recur it from being banished too. Next up, we have Fair Welcome Labyrinth or Fair Welcome Labyrinth. They're not entirely sure which. If it would be fair as an Fair or fair as an Fare. Yeah. Normal trap card 1. When a monster declares an attack, if you control a Fiend monster, target one card on the field, negate the attack, and if you do, destroy that target. Then you can set one non-Labyrinth normal trap from your hand or deck to the field.
That's crazy. It really is.
It's a play on Fare Thee Well.
Yeah. Next you have Labyrinth Barrage. Normal trap card 1. When you activate a set normal trap card except the Labyrinth Barrage, your opponent takes no further damage from your card effects until the end of their next turn after this card resolves. Also, this card's effect becomes that normal trap card's effect when that card is activated.
So that literally turns any non-Labyrinth trap card into a Labyrinth trap card when you need to.
Yes.
And yes, that's really good. Next up,
I think something that's important to note is that you can use some of these that let you set a non-Labyrinth card. Just set Eldritch or Scarlet Sanguine and put your whole Eldritch engine online.
Because Scarlet Sanguine's a normal trap. Or, you can just use Labyrinth Barrage and copy it.
I mean, yeah, that too. Whatever you want.
Yeah. Lastly, we have Daemon Glitch, which would be translated as Archfiend Glitch. This is one of the cards I was talking about, where it's got the green Archfiend.
Yeah.
And then the pink one behind her. Normal trap, 1. If you control a Fiend monster, target 1 card on the field, destroy it, and then you can send a Fiend monster from your deck to the graveyard.
Seems pretty good.
Which could then set up your future plays. They're also reprinting Compulse, specifically for this archetype.
Yeah, but it's funny because the Archfiend Glitch, if you notice, there's no once per turn anywhere on it.
Nope.
And it's just generic Fiend card.
Yep.
So, before we get too much farther, we do want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, ETB Games. So, a huge thank you to our sponsor, ETB Games in Alexandria, Louisiana. They are your one-stop shop for everything related to all of the card games and nerdy needs that you would have. So they are a great place to pick up singles and sealed product for Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, Digimon, Pokemon, whatever card game you're wanting to play, as well as sleeves, deck boxes, play mats, mat tubes, you got the binders, whatever you need for your card game needs. They also have everything that you need for your tabletop things. So they have the mats that you play on, they have rooms dedicated to tabletop, they have painted and non-painted figurines, as well as a paint for them if you decide you want to do that. They also have the books, that way you can do D&D, Pathfinder, whatever you want. They also have Warhammer figurines, things like that. In addition to all of this, they also have a great and wonderful place and a good environment to go in, hang out, play some video games. A lot of times we go there and they have big groups of people playing different fighting games, things like that. So it is a great place to go in and play all of those games and anything tabletop oriented, basically. They also have great regular board games, whatever you want. It is a wonderful place to hang out. They do large monthly tournaments that we cannot recommend enough. And at the end of it all, it's a great, wonderful place with good people. You can find the link to ETB Games in the description down below. And now, back to the episode.
Oh, yeah. So the next card is a card that whenever we talked about the Mr. Archetype, I asked where it was at. Here it is.
Yep.
Hugin, Wings of the Mr. Level 2 Light Fairy monster, Light Fairy fusion monster. 0 attack, 0 defense. Material, 2 Mr. monsters. 1. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, discard 1 card, add a Mr. field spell from your deck to your hand. 2. If another card you control would be destroyed by an effect, you can banish this card instead. 3. If this card on the field is destroyed by a battle or card effect, return it to the extra deck.
This is perfect for that deck.
Mm-hmm. Note that the card's name is named after the other of Odin's ravens that report to him about everything. Its name means thought, because the other raven's name was Munin. And I was like, oh, if there's Munin, where's Hugin?
Yep.
Here it is.
Next we have so we have a couple of ones that we have. I'm actually gonna skip a little bit, and we're gonna do the other archetype after this, because this is only a couple of cards, and then the other archetype's like a huge list of cards. So then next we have some Grand Creator support coming from Power of the Elements. So this will be some in Power of the Elements, which is the core set after Dimension of Chaos, I believe. And this is support for the stuff that we saw in Grand Creators. So this is things like the Exo Sisters, things like the Punks, things like that. There's no adventure stuff in here, probably because the adventures are already so good that that's the last thing I need is more support.
Yeah.
But
unless the support's just useless.
Yes. But the first thing we have is a new Exo Sister monster.
Yeah.
So this is Exo Sister Malpha, a light spellcaster effect monster. Level 4, 1600 attack, 800 defense. You can only use this card's name first and second effects each once per turn. 1. If you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are Xyz monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, special summon 1 Exo Sister Ellis from your deck. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect, except Exo Sister monsters. 2. If a card is moved out of either graveyard, you can special summon from your extra deck 1 Exo Sister Xyz monster using this face-up card you control as material, and this is treated as an Xyz summon. So, it's something that all the Exo Sisters already do, which is summon themselves, and it's all based off of if anything happens in the graveyards. So it's like the new Gravekeepers, basically.
Yeah.
But a little more spammy. Next, you have a normal trap card called Exo Sister Latonya. This is, like I said, a normal trap card. You can only activate a card with this card's name once per turn. 1. If all monsters you control are Exo Sister monsters, minimum of 1, you can pay 800 life points and target one card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, banish that card, then you can apply one of these effects. Immediately after this effect resolves, Xyz summon one Exo Sister Xyz monster using monsters you control, or if you Xyz summoned previously this turn, banish one card your opponent controls.
Pretty good. Next up, we have some new punk cards. New punk synchro monster. Punk Jam Dragon Drive. Earth Psychic Synchro Effect. 2700 attack, 2400 defense, 1 Psychic Tuner, and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. You can only use this card's names 1 and 2 effects once per turn each. If the synchro summon or special summon by a punk card's effect, if this card is synchro summon or special summon by a punk card's effect, you can pay 600 life points, take 1 level 3 psychic monster from your deck, and either add to your hand or send to the graveyard. So you can just search out Ghost Ogre with this. That's stupid. 2. If your opponent activates a card or effect in response to the activation of your punk card or effect while this card's in your graveyard, special summon this card. And then we have...
Seems okay.
Yeah, then we have Punk Jam Extreme Session. Spell Field. Field spell, I mean.
Spell field.
It's a typo in the actual article.
Yes, we will be activating a spell field today.
Yes. You can only use this card's names 2 effects up to twice per turn. That you don't ever hear that.
Yeah, that's like Mare with thrice per turn.
Yeah. 1. Once per turn, you can banish a punk card from your graveyard. Special summon a punk monster from your hand. That's once per turn. It's twice per turn effect. If either player pays life points to activate the effect of a psychic monster you control, you draw 1 card.
Nice. So like twice per turn, you can draw a card off of this. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about some Vernalizer fairies.
Heck yeah. Brand new archetype, and I love them.
Yep. So this is a new archetype from Power of the Elements. This is the first one that we know. Is it the first or second archetype from Power of the Elements that we have?
I want to say the second.
Yeah, I want to say so, but I'm not entirely
I don't
sure.
fully remember. So they're called Vernalizers, which is how they're translating it. The first line of the article on YGOrganization: fairies cursing forest critters with the burden of sapience, just ahead of the spring equinox too.
Yep.
Because some of the artwork literally has the Vernalizers like giving halos to some animals, and in other artworks they're like sentient wearing clothes.
Yep.
Okay, first one, Vernalizer Fairy of Hills and Blooms, level 4 Earth Fairy, 200 attack, 2000 defense.
Oh, it was my turn.
Just let me get this one.
Okay.
You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. You can discard this card and 1 other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card you control. One Vernalizer card. You cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except Earth monsters. Also, add a Vernalizer Fairy card from your deck to your hand except itself. Then you can special summon an Earth monster from your graveyard.
Seems good. 2.
Vernalizer Fairy monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects when she's on the field. So this is really good. In Earth decks.
Yes.
Yeah, namely Madolche.
And maybe Melfi.
Also, I think Earth Machine can also really utilize this as well.
Possibly, yeah.
So the reason
I think the issue with the Earth Machine, though, is that I think they lock you pretty hard into machines.
Yeah. So because the way all that's worded, whenever you activate her effect to discard to search and then special summon, you can special summon the other monster you discarded. So if you discard, let's say, Madolche Petting Cessor, you can then get your search and then activate, and then its other effect, especially on the Petting Cessor, activate effect of Petting Cessor, special Putting Cessor, and you're right on along your combo lines.
Yep. Next, we have Vernalizer Fairy of Forests and Awakening. Level 2 Earth Fairy Effect Monster. 900 attack, 1800 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. You can discard this card and 1 other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card. You cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except Earth monsters. Also, send from your deck to the graveyard one Earth monster that can be normal summon / set. Then you can special summon one Earth monster with a different name from your graveyard. 2, you can target one Vernalizer Ferry monster you control, double its attack until the end of this turn.
That's important to remember for later.
Yes, it is good.
Next up, we have Vernalizer Fairy of Flowers and Fields. It's a rabbit that was cursed with Sapience. Level 3 Earth Fairy.
That was cursed with what?
Sapience.
You mean sentience?
No, Sapience. Sentience and Sapience are two different things.
What are they? Sapience is like when they can like walk and stuff like that, like 2 legs walk, like humans.
Use tools.
Oh, like Homo sapiens, like humans. Yeah.
Sentience just means that they have higher brain function and can like recognize themselves in a mirror. They have a concept of the self as opposed to the others, stuff like that. Anyway, Vernalized Fairy Flowers, Fields, blah blah blah.
I'll just believe you on all that stuff.
600 attack, 600 defense. That's what's been explained to me. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. 1, you can discard this card and one other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card. You cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn except Earth monsters. Also add an Earth monster from your graveyard to your hand except itself. Then you can special summon an Earth monster from your graveyard. 2, your opponent cannot target Vernalizer Fairy monsters you control with card effects.
So it's going to prevent them. So if you have them all in the field, they can't be targeted, they can't be destroyed, and you can double the attack of one. All right. Next we have Vernalizer Fairy of Mountains and Melting Snow. This is a cute little. Is that a tanuki?
No, that's a bear. Just a regular.
Dang it! I'm trying to like understand what a tanuki is still. And
if you go back up to Fairy of Force and Awakening, the second card, it's the bear.
Oh,
being cursed with intelligence.
Cursed or gifted?
Cursed, because now they know.
Because now they know. Oh man, this is an Earth Fairy. Also, this is a level 3, 1100 attack, 0 defense. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1, you can discard this card and one other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card. You cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except Earth monsters. Also draw one card. Then you can special summon one Earth monster from your graveyard. 2, you can target one Vernalizer Fairy monster you control. It can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn.
This is important.
Yep.
Okay, next up, we have Flower Crown of the Vernalizer Fairy. It's a thing cursing them with Sapience.
Yup.
Continuous spell. Here's why all those Vernalizer Fairy monster effects, where they only affect other Vernalizer Fairy monsters. Here's why that's important. Earth monsters you control are also treated as Vernalizer Fairy cult monsters.
Nice.
So that means that if you have the Pudding Cess, the Chocolate mode specifically, with its 3000 attack, it can attack twice with 6,000 attack points.
Yup.
Can't be targeted and can't be destroyed.
Seems pretty good.
2, once per turn, if a Vernalized Fairy monster in your hand would discard itself and one other card, to activate its effect, you can discard only itself instead.
Which is really good because otherwise this is a horrible neg engine.
That's just constantly neg wanting you just to do other stuff.
Right.
To be fair, using 2 of their effects, you can literally add Herald of Orange Light to your hand.
True. Next we have Calendar Rotation of the Vernalizer Fairy. Normal Trap. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. 1, target one Vernalizer Fairy monster in your graveyard, either add it to your hand or special summon it. 2, during your opponent's turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, if you have no cards in your hand, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Special summon as many Vernalizer Fairy monsters with different names as possible from your graveyard, but return them to the hand during the end phase. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. That is really good.
Yep. The only thing that would make this better is that if the continuous spell treated ones in your graveyard as Vernalizer Fairies also.
Yeah, because then you could literally special summon any Earth monster.
Right.
Next we have, lastly, we have Vernalizer Fairy and Flower Buds. Not buds as in a flower bud, but buds as in buddies.
Yes.
It's a pun. Normal Trap. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. 1, target face-up card your opponent controls up to the number of Earth monsters you control with different names that were special summoned from the graveyard. Return to the hand all an Earth monster you control for each target, and if you do, return the targeted card to the hand.
So what do you think about the archetype?
It's got a lot of potential, actually.
I think it does too.
Like, even as a solo archetype deck, it's got some potential to do some stuff, not a whole lot. But the fact that all of their effects are generically Earth.
It's the splashability of it that really makes this over the top, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, not only that,
Or makes it playable at least.
Oh yeah, and like not only that, they're also. I think that they did have Madolche in mind whenever they designed this archetype, because you can actually run this in Madolche and not have too big of an issue, because all their effects, yes, they require that you discard them to the graveyard and they're stuck there. But then because they discard something else and then special summon something else, you can entirely circumvent that problem.
Yeah.
So they did kind of design it with Madolche in mind, but it's still very generically Earth. You could still use like Giant Rat, the gadgets, just to name 2 random cards.
Yep.
Just good generic Earth stuffs.
Yeah, definitely. So that'll wrap us up on the new cards and archetypes as far as TCG and OCG is concerned.
Well, no. We have we have a couple. We actually have a couple more cards from Duels Pack, Duels of the Pyroxene, actually.
Oh, I somehow completely missed this.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, we now have artwork for the pack. And the pack in the OCG has Leo from 5Ds and a new form of Power Tool behind him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Power Tool's getting a new card.
Awesome.
But we don't know what it does. But we did get new Amazoness cards.
Okay.
So you want me to start, or?
Yeah, you can go ahead and start.
Okay.
I haven't even found it yet.
Okay. So first off, we have Amazoness Kaiserin, Earth Warrior Fusion, level 10, 3200 attack, 2800 defense. Materials: an Amazoness Fusion monster and 1 Amazoness monster. Not too hard in a fusion-based deck. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. No, excuse me. 1. If this card is fusion summoned, you can special summon an Amazoness monster from your deck. So it becomes a neg-1 instead of a neg-2.
Yeah.
2. Your opponent cannot target other Amazoness monsters you control with card effects. Also, they can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. That's really good. If this card fusion summon using Amazoness Queen and or Amazoness Empress as material, it can make a second attack during each battle phase. So that's double attack. Your other Amazonesses can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. She's beefy at 3200.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. Found it yet?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Next we have Amazoness King Liger, Earth Beast Fusion effect monster, 2900 attack, 2800 defense, level 9. 1 level 5 or higher Amazoness monster and 1 Amazoness monster are the materials. You can only use the second effects of this card's name once per turn. 1. Monsters your opponent controls cannot attack monsters except this one. 2. You can target 1 Amazoness card you control and 1 warrior Amazoness monster in your graveyard. Destroy the first target, and if you do, special summon the second target from your graveyard. This card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect.
I love the way they worded that, because that means you can target a warrior or a beast, including itself, field Amazon, and then it has to specifically be one of the warriors.
Yep.
So that's cool. Next up, we have Amazoness Shaman, level 2 Earth Warrior effect, 800 attack, 1800 defense. You can use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If this card in your hand or graveyard, you can target an Amazoness card you control, except herself. You cannot special summon a monster from the action deck for the rest of the turn, except Amazoness monsters. You get Xena locked. Also return the targeted card to the hand, and if you do, special summon this card. That's pretty good.
Yep.
2. If this card is special summoned, add polymerization from deck to hand.
Seems solid. Next we have Amazoness Golden Whipmaster. This is a level 5 Earth Warrior Pendulum effect monster, 2000 attack, 1200 defense, pendulum scale of 1. Pendulum effect. You can only use the second pendulum effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. Amazoness monsters you control gain attack equals to their level times 100. 2. When an attack is declared involving your Amazoness monster, you can target 1 spell trap on the field, destroy it. Monster effect. You can only use the first and second monster effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can place this card in your pendulum zone. If an Amazoness monster is special summoned to your field while this card is in your graveyard, you can place this card in your pendulum zone. Not too bad.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Next up, we've got. Hold on. I was double checking something. I had a thought. I'll explain in a second. Next up, we have Amazoness Silver Sword, level 3 Earth Warrior Pendulum, effect monster, 1200 attack, 2000 defense, pendulum scale of 7, so it pairs really well with Golden Whip Master, yeah?
Yeah.
You can only use the second pendulum effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. Amazoness monsters you control gain attack equal to the level times 100. That makes the new Amazoness fusion monster we talked about, 4200.
Yeah.
Beefy. 2. When an attack is declared involving your Amazoness monster, you can target an Amazoness spell trap in your graveyard, add to your hand. So that is whenever your Amazoness attacks or is attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Monster effect. You can only use the first and second of this card's effect each once per turn. If this card is in the monster zone, is destroyed by battle or card effect, place it in your pendulum zone. 2. If an Amazoness monster you special summon to your field while this card is in your graveyard, you can place this card in your pendulum zone. So, Golden Whip and Silver Sword Master are actually based off of a pair of sisters in the anime who also used the archetype. I want to say they were the Tyler sisters. Yeah, because when I Google them, I'm pulling up Gloria Tyler and Grace Tyler, and yeah. So basically, those two Amazonesses look exactly like them. But still in the attire of the Amazonesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what they're based on.
Yep. Next, we have Amazoness Secret Technique. This is a quick play spell. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn, and only once that turn. 1. Fusion summon 1 Amazoness fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material.
Quick play polymerization. Got it.
Yep. 2. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Once, if you would fusion summon an Amazoness fusion monster this turn, you can also send 1 Amazoness monster from your extra deck to the graveyard as material. All right, that's interesting.
Okay, so that can kind of help you cheat out the big fusion.
Yes.
And then from there, they're also reprinting Amazoness Queen, Princess, Baby Tiger, Empress, Pet Liger, and Call.
Yes. So, we don't really have the time to cover everything about the Speed Duel box, but we do have all of the new skills. So, if you're really interested in checking out all of the new skills that are coming in this Speed Duel GX box.
Before that, real quick, soon we're getting 4 Earth reprints as well. Neospatian Grandma, Revival Golem, Mrs. Radiant, and Pendulum Fusion but that's just reprints out of Power of the Elements.
And that's all in OCG land, so we don't know if we're getting that here or not.
But I just figured I should throw that out there real quick, because it's still Power of the Elements related.
Right. But as far as the Speed Duel stuff, the GX box, we have all the skill cards, like I said, but realistically, there's not something we really cover too much here. We like to leave that to the Speed Lords podcast.
Yeah.
But if you are interested in checking out all the Speed Duel stuff, we'll leave links to it down below.
Yeah, it's all on YGOrganization.
Right. But we do have a list of reprints coming in the Speed Duel box.
Heck yeah.
And a few of them, not all of them, but a few of them are kind of relevant. So we'll go over the secret rares and some of the ones that we feel are a little bit more relevant. So the 8 deck lists we have one for Jaden. The secret rares in his are Wing Karibo, Polymerization, and Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. Polymerization secret rare is pretty cool.
Very pretty.
Yep. Next, in the Aster box, you have a Destiny Hero Plasma secret rare and a Destiny Hero Dasher secret rare, which is cool because that means it's guaranteed. Only other really cool reprints here is a Diamond Dude reprint's cool, Malicious reprint is cool, but other than that, there's not much here. Chaz has Armed Dragon level 7 secret rare and Ojama King secret rare. The Ojama King secret rare is really cool. Although ulti, I think, will probably always just be highest.
Yeah, definitely.
Next, you have Dr. Crowler, which has Ancient Gear Golem as a secret rare, which is kind of cool. Also, Dekoichi, the Battle Chanted Locomotive, is in here, which is cool. Next, you have Alexis. The secret rare for her is DD Warrior Lady and Cyber Blader. There are... Maybe you can say Senju of 10,000 Hands is an interesting reprint, but honestly,
and then Cyber Angel,
lot.
Ben 10, Ida 10, and Izana.
Yeah, so... Next, you have Jessie, who has Rainbow Dragon as a secret rare and Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus as a secret rare. Then you have Zane with Cyber Dragon and Cyber End Dragon as secret rares. Those make a lot of sense.
Those are also nice.
Yep. Next, you have Axel with Volcanic Doomfire and Volcanic Rocket as secret rares.
His deck does come with 2 copies of Volcanic Shell. I just want to put that out there.
Yep. And Blaze Accelerator, Tri-Blaze Accelerator, and Twin Twisters is cool. Next, and then some other included cards are things like Donzalug as a secret rare, Apprentice Magician as a secret rare, Hydrogeddon as a secret rare, Sphere Karibo as a secret rare, Book of Moon, and Floodgate Trap Hole also as secret rares. So there's some interesting stuff in here. Master of Oz is actually a pretty cool reprint.
Yeah. We're also getting an OCG import called Hourglass of Life. It's terrible.
Pretty much. And then the last thing that we're going to cover as far as news is we do have the new Speed Duel Tournament Pack 3 for Speed Duels. Skills are not included, but the ultra rares here
Are super cool.
Yep. Dark Ruler Hades, Lava Golem, Charging Gaia the Fierce Knight, Toon Dark Magician, and Allure of Darkness. So, Allure of Darkness and Lava Golem are the most impactful ones as far as the TCG is concerned, but it is cool to get ultra rares of these cards. Next, you have super rares. Skull Servant, Queen's Knight, Blackluster Soldier, Toon World, Offerings to the Doomed, Windstorm of Itaqua, Nightmare Wheel, Zoma the Spirit, and Waking the Dragon.
All cool cards.
Yep, Skull Servant's probably the coolest one here in my opinion, but
Yeah.
next, the commons. We have 17 of 20. We don't actually have them all, but we have most of them. So, the commons are King's Knight, DD Crow, which is cool, Golden Ladybug, Santa Claus, Zombina, Parasite Paranoid, Meteor Black Dragon, Ryu Senshi, which is cool, Arcana Knight Joker, Fusion Gate, Order to Charge, Advanced Ritual Art, Shard of Greed, Bashing Shield, Dust Tornado, Haunted Shrine, the Golden Apples. And we know that there's some skills in here that are errated versions of their originals, which are Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, Inner Conflict, and Twisted Personality. So, that's pretty much it for the Speed Duel stuff. I do want to go ahead and get on into the podcast question of the day, though. So, the previous podcast question of the day was asking if your combo lines, like when you play, do you find yourself mostly using planned and rehearsed combo lines or mostly improv? And we got a lot of mixed results here. So some rehearsed lines to start me off, then I think a bit more creatively later on, and but this is usually after I've made a play and realized a new line. Or turn 1, beginning of the combo's planned, but my end board is 100% improv and not everything is going as planned. Some depends on the deck in the tournament, mostly rehearsed, but I go into improv. And that's really what we're seeing a lot of people saying is that everything's rehearsed, but they kind of go into improv as they go. And then some people just, I'm improv all the time. So it's really interesting to get that back and forth and see how some people consider themselves mostly improv players and how some people are mostly all focused on rehearsed lines. But it's interesting that even when the people focus on rehearsed lines, it's important to understand that once you get past turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, you might have to improv some. So, and then today's...
All seems pretty fair to me.
Yep. Today's podcast question of the day is, are there any changes on the OCG Forbidden and Limited list that you would like to see put into place here in the TCG? So you can always find the question on Twitter and Discord. If you would like to see us discuss your answers, you can reply to the question in either of those places. And in the meantime, thank you all so much for listening to today's episode. Anything to add?
All I gotta say is ban Hunter, unban Wineups and Mighty.
I mean, yeah, I'm all for it.
Ban Verte. I play Verte. Ban Verte!
Yeah. In the meantime, thank you all so much for listening to today's episode of the podcast. Be sure to check out ETB Games. Their link is in the description down below. Be sure to check out Team Dark Arm Dealings. Their link will be in the description down below. That is our sister channel on YouTube. Be sure to check out our playmat on Imperium Duelist. Be sure to check out our Patreon, our Twitter, and our Discord. And that is all I've got for today's episode. Thanks all so much for listening, and have a good one.
Take care, everybody.